It's not to say that EA isn't probably the worst gaming company on the planet right now, but they still keep up in doing dumb stuff in the market that doesn't make any sense. One of them being is that Apex Legends and Star Wars Jedi Respawn cancel another project around 100 employees impacted, the way they're impacted is that they no longer have a job with EA. And the reason being why they did this was because a while back there was a rumor that there was going to be a new Titanfall game that was going to be an extraction shooter, which in itself doesn't sound like a bad idea, but why not make a single player game with the extraction shooter attached onto it? I'll never know why. And not only are there casualties in devs being fired, but there's also games being canceled, which one of them is Titanfall, unfortunately, that we know for sure. And the reason why they're saying this is because basically they want to concentrate on what makes them money, which is Star Wars Jedi, which has had 2 amazing games, and Apex Legends, which is rumored to have an Apex Legends 2, which is going to be the 2.0 version of that game, and they're going to revamp it. And I'm guessing it's going to be like Overwatch 2 or something like that, where it's going to be Apex 2.0, but it's basically a sequel with revamped visuals and stuff like that. But look, do I blame EA wanting to make more money into their wanting to invest in money makers that make them good money? Absolutely not. Apex probably makes them loads of cash, and the Star Wars Jedi franchise right now is kind of raking them a lot of cash, and it's critically acclaimed, and it's already a sure bet fire. But the thing about it is that to fire 100 employees and on top of that fire a potential future game that could possibly fill in the gaps just in case Jedi doesn't do very good in the future, Star Wars Jedi doesn't do very good in the future, or Apex fumbles the ball and it kind of doesn't do as well as they used to, which is a very strong possibility. You see Overwatch and you see its competition now, and its competition is kind of taking the cake right now. Marvel Rivals kind of made that game almost a little irrelevant. And yeah, if you're a Marvel fan, you're more than likely playing Marvel Rivals, and if you were a Marvel fan or Overwatch fan, you're playing Marvel Rivals. So anything can happen in the gaming landscape, and the fact that they weren't willing to take a chance on the very least on an extraction shooter, that in my opinion isn't a bad idea, but at the same time it's kind of that's not what people were asking for. They were asking for more of the single player game with a multiplayer game attached to it. You could have at least made that an option, like the way they did back in Call of Duty games, where you had the extraction shooter aspect that went along with it. One thing that these companies are going to learn the hard way is talent is what makes you money. The talent that you hire and that makes you these games like Apex and the Jedi franchise that has come out on the Respawn essentially is what makes you money. Respawn is what the group of people that are there is what makes you money. And laying off 100 employees that gave you that kind of moneymaker of Apex and the Star Wars Jedi, to cut 100 people off is the most short-sighted thing that I've ever seen EA do, and that I've seen a lot of gaming companies do, that they kind of, instead of relocating or kind of remanaging their entire base and putting that talent where it should be, they instead fire those people like if talent in video games is easy to find, when in reality that is not the case. The talented developers that are there that have been successful over the years are successful for a reason. Even these new games like Expedition 33 has talent that comes from Ubisoft that was unused talent, and now that talent is making loads of money, is already going to have a movie deal to make its game a movie, and also on top of that is already the front runner for Game of the Year. So it's these were 4 or 5 developers that made this game. Imagine 100 developers that you fire. I think in the long run, companies are gonna start to learn, or even learn the hard way, that by losing a lot of money, that talent is key, and talent is what makes you money in the gaming industry. But not only having talent and just having them there, but letting them do new things and creative projects that will eventually make you money, like the way Apex did, like the way Jedi did, like the way Madden did, like the way all these other games, Dead Space, all these other games that EA back in the day used to take risks on to make the money. Apex has been one of those big risks. The Jedi franchise has been one of those big risks, and I hope that they come to an understanding that yes, Apex is good. Like, don't get me wrong, Apex is a good game. Jedi are good games. I'm not trying to hate on them, but at the same time, it's like it's time to use that talent and to make new games that people want to be interested in, like Expedition 33 and all these other games that are coming out that are taking risks and are taking chances with a talent that nobody else kind of incubated and kind of helped with that process. And I hope Expedition 33 is a lesson to people to show it is possible to have good talent unused and unincubated, and then when they leave you to be like surprise Pikachu face that they're making a Game of the Year contender and are probably going to make a moneymaker in a movie and stuff like that, because from what I've been told on how narratively beautiful that game is, it's one of the best out there, and I hope to see that a lot more. And it's sad to see that Titanfall 2 was canceled and 100 workers were laid off. This is on top of 670 workers that had already been laid off at EA, which was already a lot in my opinion, and there was already 24 workers at Respawn that were laid off on top of this. So just keep that in mind, that this isn't the first time that they laid off people at Respawn, and also this is also 50 jobs that were lost at BioWare. So like, this is an overall rehaul of talent, and it's just such a waste. I don't know why companies keep insisting to do this when these are their moneymakers, but at the same time, I hope that in the future they understand that devs, the RY games are so good and why they make them so much money. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you think about these layoffs? What do you think about Titanfall 2 being canceled? Do you think maybe it's not canceled, that it's going to be kind of paused and going to come into the next generation? Let me know what you think below, and put RIP Titanfall 2 or 3. RIP Titanfall 3 if you got all the way through. And remember, you're pretty good.